All right, so this okay. So we continue with our R programming, and I just want to. It's a wrap up of data types. We started with data types, and I think this was what we we actually did. We have data types, and then I think we looked at vectors, and then we looked at lists. Of course, we also looked at data frames, and then we looked at other ones like matrix and then arrays. So today I want to just give a summary of most of them. So, and then we also looked at something has to do with what we call logical, what is it, operators and stuff. We managed to look at some aspect of, let's say, uh, subsetting and then manipulations, but not all that. So what I intend to do is to just summarize all those things as to how to also apply some of the mathematical operations in, let's say, data frames, matrix, and stuff. So, and all the time I always say that it's always good to build your whatever information from scratch. So if we are looking at vectors, for instance, let's say we're going to look at vectors. We all know that we can vectors is simply what is it? A data type that take a uniform kind of data. For instance, if I have BR, that's for a vector, and then what is it for? BTR, I think that way. Okay, what is it? If I have this kind of what is the VTR, which is a vector, and then I want to simply, let's say, I want to assign values to it. I use the combined sign. So I can put like this, and I can decide to say maybe 34, 33, and then I separate them by comma, and then in that order. The last should not be an operation, it shouldn't be exclamation mark. You can put anything at the back of five. So when I do that, I can simply run it, and then I have taken everything into vector. I can also do the same, what is it? What is it? Vector type. And then that one I will call it vector 2. And then it can take in the form of, then I still have to use the same combine function. Initially, I said that in R, the functions are simply, you know, like algorithms, like mathematical formulas. So immediately the R language sees C, it knows you are talking about a combined function. So we can also, I mean, have a vector of characters. So the characters we use, we put them in double quotes, can put them in single quote, there's no problem. So characters, you can have something like BB, and you have to go out of the double quote, put your comma, and then you have to put the double quote again and type whatever you want to put inside, and then in that order. When you finished, you can just, um, what is it? When you finish, you can just, let's say I have each, then you need always have to come out. You always have to come out of your whatever that you are. You have to come out of the double quote and then put your this in there. You have to come out. So I'm just doing quite a number of them, and then I can do RR. Then I can come out like this, put your comma, then your shift, and then go and click on that key close to your enter key. You'll definitely see something there. So I can come out like this. You put comma, and then no, you put comma. No, this is full stop. You put comma, and then now when you put comma, you can put spaces if you know that will make your work visible, but the space does not make, it doesn't have any effect. The only place that has effect is when you put a space at the back of the variable that you are creating. That one you're going to have a little effect, but that's arrow will simply prompt you to take it back. So I could have, let's say, mm. So that's also a vector of characters that I have. So I can count them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I should add one and make it 8. And so, and then I'll just put the last one, which is going to be, let's say, YY. So when you do that, I can simply run this and then it has run. So I have just, that's the vectors that we also. Now, if we want list, you see that the vectors, you can't have vectors of both numbers and characters. It won't work. Let me show you one example. If I have, let's say, VTR, or let's say I have a vector, let me say I call that example, and then I'm just going to, then immediately I don't see the C. It means you are actually going to build a vector. So let's say I have like 55, 66, 65, or whatsoever. And then the next one I now bring something like this. And I say each. Then I come out and I say something like say 44. Then I come out and I say uh, let's say a GG. If you run this, what is it? Oh wow. Okay, so let me try and see if I can print it. Oh yeah, it prints. So now it means I can actually combine, I mean, all of them, and then I have to put them in double quotes like that. I think what I was trying to explain initially was when you put them together like this, and then you don't put the HH in double quotes, it won't work. Let me remove that, and then we see. So you can see that R is already giving me a warning uh, because they are not of the same, they're not the same. So in this case, when you run it, it won't run. They will tell you that the object HH not found. So R wouldn't recognize it. So when it comes to vectors, you can combine numbers and characters at the same time. If you're going to put the numbers and characters, you have to put the characters in double quotes. And that's simply how, it works. So if I leave this here, put that in double quotes, like you saw earlier, that one to run properly. There will be no problem with that. But the best practice is to use lists. And a list means it can carry both vectors, it can carry characters, it can even carry additional lists, it can carry different things. That's the point I'm trying to establish here. So that's how we looked at what is vectors. Then we also try to look at lists. Another one that we looked at is a list. And like I just explained, the function for list, let's say I have lists, and then I'm just going to, so with the list, we use the function called the list itself. So when I bring the list here, I can actually have a list of the vectors that I have created on top, which is the VTR. I can have the VTR1. I can have the VTR2, and then I can create my own. I can add the other vector, which I call it the E and X. And of course, I can add my own, what is it? What is it? Characters to it. And then 22, 44, and then 77. Let me run it and see. Yeah, I think that I'm supposed to put this in double quote. So that's VV. So I can take the other one out. Then I'm supposed to also put this in double quote. I think that's why I got that too. And in data science, don't ever be worried that you made a mistake. So you see that I have built a list. I can have, now I can print the list out like this, and I can you see that it will print them separately, each of them on a different line. So it print the vectors. So if you want to print the entire vectors, you can use list to be able to do that. And then quickly, we got to another aspect of the most important aspect of data types, which we call the matrix. So I think that we made a lot of noise about matrix, and we said, sorry, data frames. What is data frames? And I said that data frames are the most the most used data type in many programs. Most of the data we have, a lot of the data we have, they come in the form of data frames. And so we try to look at how to build a data frame. And I remember that I said the data frame is simply just combining your, let's say you have your let's say you have your vectors already that you have created. You can actually build a data frame of, or I mean, those vectors. For instance, I've already built a vector of vector 1 and then vector 2. Now, I just say, what is it? My data, what is it? Don't worry about the spelling because I've already got some things that I don't want it. And then the syntax or the function is always data.frame. So when you do that, I don't know that you are trying to build a data frame. Whatever that you are then doing, the function tells R what you want to do, what you are. So this is what actually lets you know when you are building a data frame. If you don't use the function, if you put that place in a combined function, you won't build your data frame. So after I have built my data, I can actually come here and then I can now put the VTR and then I can put the VTR2 and that's another column. And in this case, I can also create, another column within this. I can say that I can use the combine function and just create it there. And then let's say I have 1:8. And so 1:8, I can come out of that, put comma, and then I can still use the same C, the same vector, and then I can come here and say, okay, use this particular function which we call repeat. So I can come to the repeat. What am I going to repeat? Let's say I want to repeat my name how many times, but my name is a character. So I have to put it in double quote. So let's say I put double quote and I say my name, BB, BB like this. And how many times do I want to repeat it? 8 times. I want to repeat it 8 times. Then I can come out of that one too, and then I can decide to do something else. Or let's say, and say that, well, I want to have a sequence of numbers, uh, uh, and I have to, let me say, use C again and build, and then I have sequence, and then the sequence are going to be there, and then I want to have a sequence of numbers between, uh, let's say, let's say two, 2 and 9, 2 and then 9, and I want each of them to differ by 2. Each of them to differ by 2. Now, when I have done this, I've created what is in my data frame already. What I have inside here, this was a vector I've already created, where I've highlighted, is on top there, as you can see it over here. Then I have another vector I created, but this is a vector I can create. So which means that when you're talking of data frame, you can actually just use the function and put all the kind of data that you want. You just write the function, but sometimes the code become too long in such a way that you're unable to, you know, what will follow it through. And that is why sometimes people leave it this way. So if I have it that way, I can just run this. Here, I've also created another vector, which is 1 to 8. I have repeated this particular character 8 times, and I'm trying to create a sequence of numbers between 2 and 9, and they should differ by 2. I don't know if this will not give me 8. The data frame will not give me 8, create it. There's a different rules. Yeah, yes, it runs properly. So in that case, I can now print my data. What is it? I have built my data frame already, and this is the data. And you can see the image is even attached to it. When you do, if I do that way, you see that it has been printed. It has been printed here. The data frame, what is it? So that's how data frame is always printed. Now, the next thing we did was the matrix. There are several things we can do with the data frame. I'm coming to that pretty soon. The next thing we did was to look at matrix, how to build a matrix. And we say that a matrix is also an array of data in which you specify the columns, the way you can reset it the way you want. It's not too different from data frame, just that data frame has rows and columns. It also has rows and columns, but you have to specify the way you want the rows and the columns to be. I think in data frame it can also be done, but it's just a slight difference. So, and to do that, if you are going to build a matrix, the syntax for, let's say I have what is it? This is, let's say this is my matrix one, and if you are joining me for the first time, you should know that when you do this funny symbol, it's an assignment operator in R. It means whatever that you have on your what is it? You have on the right, we are packing everything into this variable we have created called empty. The empty I'm talking about matrix. So when I come here, the function that R will know that what I am doing is matrix itself. When you do matrix like this, the syntax will even come on top. It means the first variable you're going to have is going to be a data. So what I don't have any readily available data now, so I can just say, okay, I can just do what is it? I can create what is it, a sequence of something, or I don't know. Let me just say sequence. I can use sequence to create the data. So I have my sequence, and then the sequence will come. The sequence is also a function. So you can build a function within a function. So, and what am I going to sequence? I want to sequence a number between 20 and then let's say 40, and they should differ, but they should differ by 5. And then that's it. So I have finished building the data. So how many rows do I want? If we have 20 to 40 and they differ by 5, how many variables are we going to have? The total count. So so we have 20, 25, 30, 35, and then 40. That's going to be that's going to be like so let me make it, let's say 10. Let me make it like 10. So 10 to 40, and they differ by 5, means that I'm going to have 10, I'm going to have 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. That's about 7. I actually wanted it to, so let me put this place 15. Uh, 15. And so when I come here, so 15 itself, and then plus, so I have 15, I have 20, I have 25, I have 30, I have 35, I have 40. So that's 6. So you will now come with your rows, number of rows, and you say that your number of rows is equal to 3, and then your number of columns, you put comma, and then your end call must also equal to the multiple of the total values you have created in the data set, which is also, this should be 2, because there are 6 values that. And then the last thing is you say by row. The by row always lets you know whether the syntax you have given, should R obey that, or R should take a different syntax. So if you say true, it means that you are saying that R follow is strictly the condition that I have created. I want it to come out that way. Let me change this. It was actually empty. Yeah. That's how it is. So when you run this, you have built your matrix. So if I come here, I can actually print the matrix, and then you will see that it is there. The matrix is there, 3 by 2 matrix, 2 columns, 3 rows, and that's how we create a matrix. So after we did that, the next thing that we needed to do was to look at how to also build an array. So our next port of call was how to build an array. The difference between a matrix and an array is not that much, but uh, an array is a repeated matrix. You have a matrix that you have repeated it at different places. So if I copy what I have on top here, let's say, and then if I copy it over there, I can just come here and then I'll come here and paste it. But in this case, I am building a matrix. So let me put a variable name that resonates. That will resonate with array. So let's say this is an array. So I have the array here, and then the function must also be array. The function must also be array, and that's how it is. So if I have the function here, the by rule here in what is it? When it comes to matrix, you don't need the by rule. The by rule. So in what is it? Uh, what you would do here is to indicate the number of times you actually want the matrix to be repeated. So it could be 4. If I put 4 here, let me run it and we see something. Yes, there is a little mistake. And then the argument, that one has to do with argument. So I have an array. And so you have, look at the dimension on top. You have data, you have, dimensions. And so that's the dim, the length, and then dimension names. So here, what we were supposed to do was to simply say dim, and that's the dimensions, and that's going to give me, if I put there 4. Now, I think there is a little bit error in array sequence of this and row. Okay, I actually can't see where the error is, but they're saying that there is an unused argument. What is it? N row 3, n column this, and then the dimensions is equals to 4. I haven't added dimension names. So let me check and see where the, okay. So let me see. I'm going to remove the whole of this. I'm going to put the 1 is to 6 like this, and then still I have the n row, the n column, and then maybe something differs. 1 is to 6 means 6, and the number of rows is 3, the number of columns is 2, and then the dimensions are simply 4. All right, so I'm still come to here to come and check my dimensions. I have data, the dimensions, that's equals to the length, the dimension names is equals to now. All right, so let me fix that pretty soon, and then I have that as well on top here. Have built quite a number of them. Okay, I've seen. Maybe it was the syntax was not that too correct. So what I can do here is simply okay. Let me come and remove the whole of this. Let me remove the whole of this, and then I will put there. I'm going to put the C and kind of like create a vector of my rows, which is 3, my columns, which is 2, and then leave this like this. Maybe I should add another one and close it up. All right. So if I do that, that one, the array then comes. So I can print the array, and then you see that it's going to appear 4 times. So these are the few things that we have done, what is it, in the past, and I think they are very useful. I mean, what we needed to do was the manipulations as to how to be able to know when to do this or to do that. And I have that video already uploaded on this particular channel. If you check, you can see how you can manipulate your data variables, let's say in array, in data frames, and whatsoever. This was just a way to just refresh your mind and your memory of all that we have done. I think the other thing that we did was operators, like how to look at operators in R, operators like the ordinary mathematical operators. We also have logical operators, which I demonstrated. I think that video too is also on what my YouTube channel. I don't want to repeat that again. So that's basically the refreshment aspect of what we have done so far. From here, the next thing we're going to look at is statement in R. Statement. I mean, how do we make statement in R? And when we are able to do that, then we can go to if statement, if else statement, and before that, we will also, after that, we will look at something like loops, for loops, while loop, and then R. So small, we are going somewhere. If you were watching, thank you very much, and God bless you.